As one of the many backers of the original Eiyuden Chronicle Hundred Heroes Kickstarter, I have been eagerly waiting for the day that game or even news about it comes out. Eiyuden Chronicle Rising, the prequel companion game, did not hold the same appeal to me after I first started seeing footage and information about the game. However, I still decided to give it a chance, and I did enjoy my time with it. This is nowhere near a perfect game though, so this video is going to cover why I enjoyed my time with the game and why you might too, but I'm not going to be shy in pointing out this game's flaws, or specifically one big flaw. This game truly isn't for everyone, but I found enjoyment in it and it helped keep me excited for the main game coming hopefully next year. Eiyuden Chronicle Rising is a side-scrolling action RPG developed by Natsume Atari and published by 505 Games. Natsume Atari is not the developer that will be responsible for 100 Heroes, that would be Rabbit and Bear Studios, who presumably gave Natsume some characters, settings, story details, and direction, and afterwards let Natsume do their thing. The idea of a companion game came out of the success of the initial 100 Heroes Kickstarter, and after talking to other studios, the partnership with Natsume Atari was formed and work on Rising began. The game came out on May 10th, 2022 for pretty much every major platform. PC, Switch, current and last generation Xbox and PlayStation consoles, you know the deal. Critical reception to the game was mixed, with most enjoying the setting, art, and some character stories, while decrying the tedious quest design. Fan reception has also had mixed results, partially for the reasons the critics had, and partially because of the difficulties faced by backers in getting their keys to the game. Neither Natsume, 505, nor Rabbit and Bear were responsible for the distribution of keys, instead outsourcing to a company called the Yeti. The company also reportedly got death threats and harassment, but I will trust that all of you have the sense not to be the internet equivalent of the Queen of Hearts. Regardless, the launch of this game was not without its difficulties and mixed opinions on the final product. In order for you to make up your own mind on whether this game is for you though, let's talk about what Eiyuden Chronicle Rising is about. The game starts with our main character CJ, a self-proclaimed honorable scavenger approaching the town of New Nevea. Recently, a rich vein of artifacts and treasures has been uncovered near New Nevea, and treasure hunters from all over, such as CJ, are flocking to the town to get rich. CJ's goal is simpler though. Her family's tradition is to send out their children to recover a treasure bigger than the one their ancestors found, and they can't come back until they do. However, older residents of the town warn that by mining the depths of the cavern, it would awaken the curse of the sorcerer who lived there and was sealed away many years ago. In her search for treasure, CJ has to contend with lens bandits, local politics, and a series of unexplainable events, while along the way helping to build up the town of New Nevea into a bustling center of commerce and entertainment. By teaming up with the mercenary Kangaroo Guru and the acting mayor of New Nevea Isha, CJ will try to uncover the greatest treasure she can, while also unraveling the mysteries of the Rune Barrows. The writing is pretty standard for a short adventurous story like Rising. Guru and Isha especially are well realized. The side characters have sparks of personality that make them fun to interact with, and the main scenario is engaging enough. What the game definitely did well, at least for me, is make me excited to see these characters again in 100 Heroes now that I have this backstory for them. You best believe I'm taking Guru and Isha as soon as I see them in the main game. On top of that, without giving spoilers, it is clear that the ending of Rising is hinting at stuff that will become more relevant in 100 Heroes, and it'll be nice to come back and examine the references after completing that game. No one is going to confuse this with a really deep narrative, but it kept me entertained through the entirety of the game, and even if CJ was fairly bland as far as protagonists go, she still had charm to keep up with her companions. I'm encouraged by the writing and character work in Rising, and I hope that is a sign of things to come. That brings me to the gameplay, and there are several different aspects to the gameplay, but I'll start with the quests, as that is the most uneven part of the game. The main scenario quests are standard, but have a decent amount of variety. Some of the time it is adventuring in dungeons and challenging boss monsters while exploring around. Other times it is more focused on New Nevea and perhaps collecting resources to upgrade facilities so that you can proceed in your dungeon exploring. That's the main scenario quest though. Where the game starts getting bogged down is in the side quests. At the beginning of the game, you were given a stamp card from Isha that as you complete quests, villagers can stamp for you. As you progress and you complete stamp cards, the town evolves around you, growing and expanding what is on offer. I like the idea of this mechanic, but in total, to complete every stamp card, you need to finish 160 side quests, pretty much all of which are fetch quests. You then have a choice. Do you ignore the quests altogether and keep the main scenario going so that you don't get bogged down and ruin the pacing of the game? That might be appealing, but if you don't upgrade facilities, you might begin to struggle with later enemies since you can't make your equipment better. Do you pick and choose side quests? That takes away some of the tedium, but also means needing to sort through the quests to select which ones are actually worth doing. The last option, of course, is doing everything, which to be fair gives good experience and money, but makes the game feel like it's just trying to pad out the playtime. The potential in this system is there, and honestly, if you're okay with mindless tasks on occasion, it's not the worst way to play, but I get why people would drop the game because of the quests. The dungeons and combat of the game, though, is a fun system. This is a side-scrolling action RPG with very minor platforming elements. Each one of the characters in your party has several moves, starting with the standard attacks which you'll use to take down enemies. You also have a jump button and a special move that for each character does something different, but all of which can be used to evade or block attacks. Guru and Isha also can do special charge attacks which do more damage, but take a little while to build up. Over time, while upgrading equipment and other stuff, more elements are added, starting with being able to do up and down attacks and chaining together link attacks to do significant damage. Then you add in the ability to equip specific elemental rune lenses, which will improve your effectiveness against certain opponents, and that leaves the system as a simple to understand to get into, but still fun to do combat system. This is aided by a decent variety of enemies. There are repeats with different elements, but they do try to add some twists of varied attacks even when you're fighting a fire slime instead of an ice slime, so I think it still works out in the end. That being said, this game is not particularly difficult, even for the bosses. Once you get the general conceit of that battle, it's fairly easy. There is a hard mode you unlock upon beating the final boss though, and I haven't tried the game on that mode yet, so there may yet be an actual challenge for us to face down. As for the dungeons themselves, there are resources to collect, treasure chests to open, and the aforementioned enemies. You know, standard dungeons. Your progress will be limited at times based on story constraints with certain barriers, and the design is basic, but the enemy and treasure placement I think fits well, and the dungeons never feel like they overstay their welcome, at least in the main scenario. Your travel through the dungeons is aided by signs that you can save at and travel between in the same dungeon. These are especially useful for repeat trips to a dungeon area, which are unavoidable. You can also do things such as trap animals here, which is just placing a trap down, that's it. And fish, which actually has a minigame, so that's fun and a bit more of a challenge than I expected. The fishing offers some variety, but otherwise there's just nothing particularly bad or particularly great about the dungeons. They are competently designed and executed, and that's fine for this game. The last thing I want to talk about with regards to gameplay is the town itself. The game advertises based on the premise of building up the town, or as they put it, upgrading the town, because that is what you are doing. Through the side quests and completing stamp cards, you can upgrade the town over time, and it is very nice to see things develop off of your actions. I will say though that this feels like a missed opportunity. I would have much preferred to have had more control on the actual town building. Reduce the number of side quests down and give us control of the town building. Keeps the playtime the same and reduces the monotony of the constant fetch quests. If Natsumi had gone this direction with the game, I bet the reception would have been far more positive. But no use pining for a game we didn't get. I will say they did a good job of making the town feel more lively and built up as you upgraded things, so I can't say they skimped on making a detailed world. Speaking of the world and its level of detail, the art of the game looks really good. The character designs are vibrant and varied, at least for the main party and prominent side characters. The landscapes look great, and the buildings are fun too. Sure, the 2D art style limits just how much they can put into the game, but everything from the background to the foreground looked good to me. Musically, the game has some nice town themes that make you feel at home in New Nevea, and some nice dungeon themes as well. On the whole, I'd say the soundtrack does what it should do without any major missteps, but also with few truly memorable tracks. Still, fun background music for our adventures. What the game really did well is the sound design around all the different things that happen in the game. Level ups, upgrades, attacks, enemy attacks, chaining attacks, finding items, I could go on. Everything had a little jingle to it that fit really well. Kudos to the sound designers, y'all knocked it out of the park with this game. It made me feel rewarded and excited with each step taken. The UI was easily understandable and made the experience smooth for the most part, while staying unobtrusive, especially in battles. I have few, if any, complaints about the presentation. The artists, composers, and designers did their jobs quite well with this game. For what it is, Eiyuden Chronicle Rising is a fun game mired with a few poor design choices when it comes to quests and side content. I would definitely not call it essential for anyone looking forward to 100 Heroes, but if it caught your eye and you think you can get through the mountain of quests, I think this game may be a good one to occupy your time with. Just try not to think about some of the wasted potential with the town building. I'm glad that Rising didn't deter my excitement for 100 Heroes, and in some ways even enhanced it, so at least for me, I found this game worthwhile. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, leaving a like allows the channel to continue diving deeper into the barrows towards the wicked sorcerer known only as the YouTube algorithm. Comments are also great, as I always appreciate hearing your thoughts, and if you have not subscribed already, I'd be very grateful if you would hit the button. Until the next video, have a great day, and happy gaming.